Hello, my name is Yelloweyes with Night Train Pickleball, and I've had a few people ask about this, so I decided I will just make this as a pickleball tip. We're going to call it the warm-up, okay? So this is the warm-up I typically do in the Night Train Pickleball Academy. We kind of rotated on and off of this because I want to change warm-ups. I don't want them to always get used to this, but when I do clinics, especially with new players, we do a warm-up, and since I do have a training background, I really worked on developing this to make it, as simple as possible, but we do need to get the body moving, get the blood flowing. Okay, so here is what we do, right? So the very first thing we do, I always like to start with the feet and work my way up, okay? And it's kind of how I do everything, whether it's pickleball or whether it's fitness. So we're gonna start with the feet. So I like to start with the feet, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what we call the toe flip, right? So we're actually gonna start flat-footed, but when we go forward, we're gonna flip our toe up and back down, okay? So we'll start on one side. Now, when I set up the court, I have it set up halfway, but typically we go from one line to the other line and back, right? So when we do it, we start here and we toe flip, get that toe up, right? Walking. You can see I have the toe flipped, and then I turn around and we come back, toe flip, right? Now, that's to kind of get things going, right? So then the next thing we do is we want to move to on top of our toes here like this, and we do our warm up this way. So now I'm on my toes, and when I come forward, I flip my toe up, right? Now I know this, as some of us have had a sedentary lifestyle, or we haven't done some sort of fitness or activity or sport in a while, this one might be difficult. So if it's okay, you could modify it and just stay on the flat foot, right? But you want to try to work up to getting up on the toes. And it's really important because right here, I'm flexing the calf and I'm stretching the anterior tibialis, or the front of the leg. And when I flip my toe, I'm actually reversing. Now my anterior tibialis is flexed and my calf is stretched, okay? So we're flexing and stretching. We're actually actively activating these muscles. So it's very important that you just don't walk on your toes, that you actually get the flip in, okay? That's what we're looking for right there, right? And then finally, when we do that, we add the last one, which is I'm gonna go to my heel and then up on my toe, right? So what does that look like coming back? I'm here, I'm gonna step and up, all the way across, okay? So again, we go from one side and back, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is the quad stretch. Now this one can be modified, and if you need to lean on a wall to do this, is okay. But the idea here is to do an active stretch and not a static stretch. There is a difference because we're doing the active stretch to get everything warmed up and get ready to compete, where the static stretch is turning everything off. So when I do this stretch, the goal is to get my ankle right in this stretch so I can stretch the front of my leg or the quad muscle, right? So I'm here, I can have my hand out for balance, right? But the idea is to put a little gentle pressure with my hand so I can get a little higher, right? And if you can't, then the idea is just to try to bring your heel up and kick your bottom. You might be able to go this far, you might be able to go this far, but it's okay. The idea is to get to a point where you can grab here. So we want to start out in all of these stretches nice and easy, and then add a little tension as we go, as we see fit, okay? So I'm starting here, and I grab, step, grab, step, grab, step, grab, right? Just for a second or two, and then to the next one. Again, we go all the way down and all the way back. The next one is we're gonna stretch the opposing muscle, which you'll get a little of the glute, a little of the hamstring in this one, right? But so what we're gonna do is gonna reach up and grab our knee as we're walking, right? And then as we're getting a little further down, we wanna add a little more pressure, get it a little closer to our chest as we can. We're really working on the hips and again, the glute, okay? So we're walking down. I'm gonna be here, here, here. A little bit of a stretch, all right? So the modifications are, if you can just reach down and grab it here to start, that's okay. If you just want to get your knees up, that's fine. To get started, but you just start where you are. Very important, you start where you are and you work to the goal, which in this case is to get the knee to your chest, right? So you start where you are and work towards where everybody else is trying to get, right? So that's the third one. The next one's hamstring, and I like to do this as a straight leg. Okay, straight leg. Again, this is one of those you want to start out low, and as you're going, you want to go higher and higher. What you don't want to do is pull muscle doing this. So you want to start out easy and then work to getting a little more and a little more. Very important when I see people do this. If you'll watch my toe, they keep their toe relaxed or pointed. Well, part of this is to keep that toe back so you get a really good hamstring stretch. So I'm actually my toe's gonna look straight up and down when I bring it up, right? So what does that look like? So if I'm here and I'm walking, stretching, I start out slow, and then as I go, it gets higher until I can get it as high as I can, right? And you can get your arms going opposite arm, opposite leg, right? But again, the most important thing is to keep the toe pulled back when you kick up, and to kick up nice and easy, and then work on getting higher as you go, right? So we go all the way down, turn around, come all the way back, all right? The next thing is what we're gonna work on the inside of the leg. You know, sometimes they call it the groin or the adductor muscle group, because, and it's gonna be in a different plane of motion. So what we've been doing is walking forward the whole time. So we're actually working in the sagittal plane. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna work in a frontal, which is the right and the left plane. So you'll notice a lot of people when they do exercises and stretches, they stay in the front and back, like I'm running or I'm lifting, right? They stay this way. So this is really one that's really trained a lot. But then when you start getting into the right and the left or the lateral movement, there's not a whole lot of exercises and stretches that really speak to that. So what we do is we wanna make sure that we introduce that in the warm-up, so your body starts getting reintroduced or introduced to that type of movement. So what we do is we're gonna do the adductor side lunge. So I'm gonna have you standing here and you're gonna step out. And what I want you to do is say, I'm gonna lunge to the right. I'm gonna bend my right knee and I'm gonna drop my bottom down to the ground, okay? But I'm gonna keep this leg straight, hands out in front. I'm gonna sit back, okay? So if you watch here, I actually sit back and I don't move forward here. I try to keep the weight on my heel, a majority of the weight on my heel, and very little on my toe. But I'm gonna sit back, and I'm gonna keep, when I do that, I'm gonna keep this leg straight, and I should feel a stretch down in here on this side, and then I'm gonna go to the other side, and then I'm gonna come together, I'm gonna step back out, I'm gonna sit back, together, right? And then if you need to start out just a little bit and then do it, just relaxing the knees, that's fine. Come together, but then the idea is to get wider and get deeper, okay? So it's like, again, like sitting back in a chair, you wanna keep the weight back on your heels. So I go all the way down, right? And then as soon as I hit, I'm gonna stay facing the same direction, and now I'm gonna go the other way, okay? Bam, bam. So now we're introducing lateral movement. So then the next thing is we're gonna introduce the hips, right? We wanna make sure we got good rotation in the hips. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people who are very tight in their hips. And so their body is trying to move through the core and trying to compensate in other ways. So we're gonna really work on opening the hips up. And one of the things we do is what we do, open the door and close the door. So if I'm opening the door, I'm gonna go high knee and I'm gonna rotate out, right? That's opening the door. So I'm gonna open up, step forward, open up, step forward, okay? That's what it's gonna look like. So that's what we call opening the door. So what does that look like? I'm here, I'm gonna open the door, step forward, open the door, step forward, open the door, step forward. All the way down, all the way back, okay? So again, it's high knee. If you wanna see it from the side, it's knee up, toe up, right? Just as high as I can get it, okay? So that's opening the door. Now I'm gonna close the door. So after I go down and back, now I'm gonna close the door. So now I'm gonna go from the outside, I'm gonna bring it in and step forward. Outside, forward. Outside, forward, okay? So what does that look like? Going down, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna go here, right, all the way down. So modification If you can't do that, just try to get your foot turned and rotate, right? Get your foot turned and rotate. We got to start where we can and move up to that final goal of that one right there, right? So we did open the door, close the door. Next thing we're gonna do is a lunge with a a lunge with a twist, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually lunge, right? And then I have my hands up and I'm gonna twist over my knee, and then I'm gonna twist away from my knee, okay? And then we'll lunge. So what lunge, right? So we can start with just stepping out and relaxing the knees. That's good enough right there to start with. Or we can actually get down in the lunge right here. Now I'm gonna keep my weight on my heel and my toe here. Up, rotate, right? What I see a lot of is people lunging this way. They put too much pressure on the toe and too much pressure on the knee, and then a lot of pressure on the back. But if you'll stay back, it keeps the pressure on that, more weight on that back leg and the front leg on the heel, then it'd be a lot more effective, okay? And you also bring your core into this, but you're gonna rotate here, together, back down, rotate here, right? So that's what we're looking to do. All the way down, all the way back. That one might be a little more challenging, but we're stepping it up. And again, we're adding now multiple planes of motion into this, okay? And so then we're gonna do one just standing here at the line. We're gonna do a squat side to side. So I'm gonna have you stand about hip width apart. You're gonna step out, right about shoulder width apart. Yeah, about shoulder width apart. You're gonna squat together, step out, squat. We might do 5 of these on each side. We might do 10 of these each side based on my demographic. So if you're younger, I'm gonna obviously give you more. If you're not as young, but you have a lot of heart, maybe we do 7, maybe we do 5, but we wanna add the lateral movement to that as well, okay? And then now we've got the lower body all warmed up. We wanna add the upper body. So now I'm gonna do small arm circles, right? And then during this time, I tell you all my jokes. That way you laugh, okay? So we're gonna start with the small ones, and we'll go with the medium ones forward, and then we go with the large ones, right? And then we finish this off with a little swim move right here, and then we go backwards. Small backwards, small medium, small large, and then small backstroke here, right? And then finally we'll finish up with our circles, our head circles. So we'll go one direction, and then we'll go the other direction, right? So that's a really good warm-up that we do with our players in any of the clinics that we go to, because we want to make sure you're properly warmed up, or make sure we're introducing you to the different planes of motion that we're going to use in the game, and that your body is ready to dominate when you step on the court. Because when we show you some stuff, we want you to do it to the best of your ability. We don't want it to be some little thing that is keeping you, that you have from being awesome, that can completely allow you to move better on the court. Because if we're going to teach you to be efficient, I want your body to be working efficiently, right? So again, my name is Yelloweyes with Night Train Pickleball. That is the awesome warm-up that we use. Hey, give it a shot with you or your club and let us know what you think.